Are these law enforcement officers or are they bouncers at a nightclub? You be the judge. Hey, what's up, guys? Long Island Audit here, back again with another video. So recently I received these surveillance and security footage from inside and outside the NYPD 75th precinct in Brooklyn, and I thought it gave a slightly different perspective and aerial view of what happened that day when I was arrested. So I want to share that with each and every one of you. I want to welcome my attorney, Jacob Uriel. He's the attorney representing me on my first NYPD arrest and now this current one. So I appreciate him for taking the time to be here. Thank you for coming, Jacob. Appreciate it.
Good to be here, Sean.
Cool. All right, so let's get right into it, and let's take a look at the video footage. We're at the 75th precinct here, guys. We're going in together. We're going in together. We're going to affect change together, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, ma'am. How are you? Can I get your name and badge number, please? Is there a problem with us recording in the precinct? Because we have the law right here that says that we are specifically allowed to record in the precinct. So this is the sign that they're always referring to. What do you think holds more weight, ladies and gentlemen? This sign, members of the public are prohibited from audio video recording or photography inside this facility, or the actual law? The law. Let's find out. The law. Hey, how you doing?
I might actually step out.
Can I please speak to a supervisor?
First, you're gonna have to step
I have a law right here. You want to take a look at
You're gonna
it?
have to step out for me.
Please don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Step out.
Don't touch me. Don't
step out
touch. Don't touch me.
Alright, so step out the
Don't touch me.
Right now you're trespassing.
Don't touch me. Don't
Right now
touch
you're
me.
trespassing.
Hey,
Someone needs
get
to
off
step
of me.
out. Alright,
Get
no
off of
problem.
me.
Alright,
Get
now
off
we
of
can
me.
talk.
Get
Now
off
we
of
can
me.
talk outside.
Read the law that says I have the right
we
to
can
do
talk
it.
outside. Now
You're a
we
law
can talk.
enforcement officer. Read the law. It fell over there.
You wanted to talk.
I'm going inside where I have the right to record. I do. I have the right to record.
Alright, you're trespassing.
I'm not. Nope. I'm not trespassing. I'm not trespassing. No, I'm not trespassing in a building that I pay for either. There was no reason. Why'd you put your hands on me that way? My paper is there. That doesn't mean you can put your hands on me. Let me speak to a supervisor. Let me speak to a supervisor. This is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous that you're not following.
Listen.
I asked him to leave. You're with him? He refused to leave.
Documenting.
You're documented? All right, just stop going closer.
He has the law in his hand.
Are you scared of me or something? Stop. Are you scared of me?
Keep coming closer.
But are you scared? I'm going into my building. Yeah, we pay for this building. That's right. We do pay for this building. We pay for this. I'm waiting for the supervisor. My property's inside of this building right now. My property's inside of this building right now. My property's inside of this building. I'm getting my property. I'm getting. Don't push me. Yo, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you pushing me for? What are you pushing me for? No one's scared of you. No one's scared of you. No one's scared of you. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. That's not my paper. That's not my paper. It's inside. It's inside. What are you pushing on me for, man? What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't touch me. What are you pushing on me for, man? What's wrong with you? No, what is wrong with you guys? I can't trespass in a public area. Don't touch me. Give me my property. I want my property.
So step out, let go of the door.
My property's inside this building. My property's inside this building. My property's inside this building. Grab me my property. Grab me my property. You guys are out of control. Look at the law. Look at the law. Look at the law. Look at the law. I'm not resisting. 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 There you go. Read this law, by the way. What am I arrested for? I have $1,000 in my pocket right there. Don't take it. I'm not resisting. I'm just making sure that you know I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting at all. I was looking for what? I was looking for you to take away my freedom?
Why would I want you to take away my freedom for? Why would I want you to take away my freedom for? Ridiculous. Read the law. Read the law. You don't like cameras, ma'am? You don't like them, huh? You don't like transparency.
I'm gonna ask you to step out until we're done. I'm gonna ask you to step out.
I have an ID and
You're initiating
No,
force
I'm
against
not
me.
using any force. You're like all the door.
And there's the ID.
Wow. That's crazy.
You want to read that law? There's a
We
law
just-
that says I'm being.
If you want to document your own experience, you can.
All right, guys. So I included the shout out to Scalzo Photo. Subscribe to his channel in the description below. He did a great job editing that together. Showed that you could see the surveillance footage from both inside and outside of the precinct, and it shows a little bit clearer how they responded and how they kept responding to me exercising my rights. And I wanted Jacob to be here to give his legal analysis, and I want to ask him some questions on his thoughts. I appreciate his perspective. Obviously, I'm not an attorney. So, Jacob, seeing this surveillance footage that we received as a part of discovery, do you look at this case any differently? Do you look at the officer's actions any differently? If not, why? Just go into a little detail.
Not really. You know, the fact that there's video inside the precinct that captures all this, and you know, from my understanding, that would be subject to FOIL discovery. It sort of underlines how arbitrary this rule is in the first instance. But, you know, in large part because you were recording, we've already been able to observe kind of what happened from multiple angles. So we've already seen, and I think what I keep seeing is whenever I watch this video, I see police officers who, and I'm going to give in a hypothetical an assumption that their policy does trump the law and they have a right to do that they have a right to exclude people who are filming. In that case, their choice would have been to ask you to leave and then charge you for trespassing, or you know, if you don't leave, to arrest you, or to just ignore it. But they didn't have a right, in my view, to grab you and literally shove you out of the precinct, because that's not, you weren't being arrested at that point. It didn't look like they were trying to arrest you at that point. They were just trying to use force to prevent you from filming. So I don't think that surveillance footage really changes much for me, and I don't think it would change much for the prosecutor. They're going to look at it their way, and we're going to look at it our way.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and you definitely have good insight into that as a former prosecutor for well over 10 years in Brooklyn. You definitely have a lot of insight into the inner mind of how a prosecutor would think in this kind of scenario. For me, you know, I look at the video and I feel like I'm watching surveillance footage from a nightclub, like that some drunk guy is getting manhandled by some bouncers and thrown out of a club, and, you know, pushed and shoved and, you know, assaulted multiple times in that video. And just watching it back again, it's just, you know, it's really concerning. Like you said, they could have just arrested me if they thought that their policy was lawful for some reason, because that was the orders that they were given. They could have just said, you need to leave, and if I refuse to leave, arrest me. They didn't have to go on and, you know, assault me, but that's what it was. Put their hands on me, use excessive force on me in that way. So I definitely agree that, you know, that was uncalled for. And, you know, we've already filed complaints against the officers. A lot of you watching have filed complaints against the officers, and they are looking into it. They are currently investigating it, the Civilian Review Board, the CCRB. Now, another question I wanted to ask you, Jacob, is that I know you've been working really hard on this case, and you've been working hard since the beginning, since I was first arrested that day. You spent hours trying to get me out. So I want to get your perspective on two things. One, we all know now that I did a live stream about it. We all know that that the NYPD, two of the officers involved, filed order of protection against me, that the judge denied at my arraignment. Do you have any sort of, now that you've gone over more of the discovery, do you have any more insight onto what can we try and come up with a reason on why? Because I think we both agreed that they're not scared of me, and I think the video clearly shows that. You know, why is there any sort of legal purpose as far as when it comes to DATs, and where do you see this case going? Do you see it going all the way to a jury trial? Your thoughts?
So New York had a reform of their desk appearance tickets several years ago. And one of their, what that reform did was it shifted the vast majority of arrests from what we call live arrests to desk appearance tickets. And there's not a lot of exceptions to that, and none of which I could see apply in your case. There is a form that they have to fill out to just to indicate why they declined to issue a DAT. In this case, when I received the discovery, there was no indication as to why they declined to issue the DAT. That said, they did ask for an order of protection, which is, and the judge said it, and I could tell you, and I don't think anyone in good faith would disagree with this. It's unheard of. I mean, I've seen cases where police officers were, you know, very seriously assaulted, and there's just no order of protection because of the nature of their work. In this case, the idea that the police were entitled to an order of protection, it's not reasonable. It's sort of outrageous. And that order of protection is one of the few exceptions for where they would not be able to give you a desk appearance ticket. So it does seem to me that they asked for the order because, you know, they're not scared. I mean, look, if these guys are scared of you, they would have run back into the precinct instead of confronting. They're not afraid of you. That's obvious. They asked for the order of protection most likely as a way to do an end run around the desk appearance ticket statute and kind of keep you in jail for longer. And frankly, had we not really pushed to get you arraigned that night, you were the last case of the night. You would have been there overnight into, you know, at least 9, 10, not even 9, 10, 10:30, 11 in the morning. So there was really no reason for that order of protection. It was denied. And I think that's really, that it kind of speaks for itself that they did that. I think it was just, and I speak as a former prosecutor, I think it was exceptionally inappropriate. I don't think they should have done it. I think the way they handled it, you know, there's cops who they want to do what they think is your job. And again, I'm not going to get into whether or not, you know, we have our position on whether or not this is illegal in the first place. But there's officers who, even in doing what they think is their job, they do it in a way that's ethical, and they do it in a way that's not ethical. And from what I could tell, this wasn't done ethically. From pushing you out the door, the way they asked for the order, it just doesn't seem like what the police should be doing, even if they were going to arrest you.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I just wanted to, as I'm, you know, thinking about what you're telling me, and as I'm thinking about the discovery we received, it's funny that we didn't receive any, you know, inventory for they returned I remember we were on the phone, we were talking, and you asked me, did they take the law into evidence? And that's the one thing that they didn't take from me and put as evidence. So I remember you saying that we should submit it as evidence, but it's funny. They took my Apple Watch, everything that I had on me that day. They took from me, and I want to say again, I really appreciate you for working so hard to get me out. And you immediately showed up to the precinct. You were great, and I really appreciate you for that. You know, I was there from 12 o'clock, I think, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, all the way up until 1:30 in the morning, and it definitely was not the best time of my life. And I really appreciate it. I was resigned. I thought I was going to stay there till 10, 11 in the morning. I was ready to stay there, you know, but, you know, you came right at the last second and got me out. So I appreciate you for that.
I'll tell your viewers, I don't normally go to the precinct, and I didn't go because, you know, you were there or because it's you. The reason I went to the precinct, normally I call and say, hey, is this going to be a DAT or is it a live arrest? Because again, I don't know what happened. For all I know, you punched the guy. I know you didn't, but you know what I mean? On any case, I call the precinct, right? Here, I couldn't get through to them because they shut their phones off because they were overwhelmed with your fans calling them. So I had to go in person just to know what was happening. But you asked me another question, and I wanted to answer it before I had to go because I have a night court. Where is this case going? And you know, I met with the prosecutor on the case in person the other day, and we had a chat about it. You know, and I think they've got their position on it, and it becomes a legal question on its first instance. You know, legally, we're going to file motions once they've turned over all the discovery. I'm going to file a motion claiming that the complaint is insufficient because it doesn't make out a crime, based on the fact that this isn't a real trespass and it's an end round around both the civil rights law and the administrative code, the right to record acts, and the judge will make a decision. I don't know what the judge will decide. And if the judge dismisses it, then they have a right to appeal. If the judge doesn't dismiss it, then we would go forward to a jury trial. The only way that there wouldn't be a jury trial is if they decide to drop the misdemeanor counts and try it as a bench trial just on the violation trespass, or the simple trespass. But I don't think that's what they're planning on doing. I think this is kind of like an all or nothing, where they're gonna, I think they're almost as interested in finding out what the law is, because frankly, the law as written doesn't really allow the police to stop you from filming under any circumstance except for when you're being arrested. And I think their position is that, there's reasonable exceptions that are read into the law or should be read into the law. And I think that's what a judge is going to have to decide. And regardless of which, then we'll have a jury, if they don't dismiss it, we'll have a jury have to decide what they think. And we talk about we the people, and the one thing I love about a jury trial is that it really is the people speaking and evaluating conduct and deciding if they think that the conduct warrants a criminal conviction or not, and if the people have proven their case.
Yeah, and if we get any of the people that were, as I'm watching it back again, I'm listening to the citizens that were outside of the police station, and if we get any of those people, they were not happy that I was being arrested. They emphatically agreed that this is our building, we the people, we pay for it. And I think that's what most people's position is going to be, that this is a public building that should be open to everyone. And we need transparency and accountability in these public spaces, especially against law enforcement, especially with all the the tyranny and the corruption that we've seen in all these, not just my videos, but videos all over the internet and body camera footage. And it's really important. But I don't want to take too much of your time, Jacob. I really appreciate
I'll say real quick, though, since you mentioned that, I do think they're going to argue that, it's the people in the precinct who have to be protected so that they can come in there and do their business. And, on any given day, you could have, who knows who's in the precinct. But on that day, there wasn't somebody going, oh, don't film me. There was a guy going, it's our building. So,
it'd be hard to prove that one. It's going to be hard to kind of paint that picture.
Well, that's exactly what they're saying, that the policy is reasonable and therefore legal because they, the police, need to be able to conduct private business there. And I will point out, and I'll note that there is a side area where the police do take complaints from people behind a door where you can't hear them. So that really wouldn't have affected anything. But
exactly, they're creating their own privacy at that point inside of the police station, which I'm sure that will argue that that's what they should be doing instead of trying to control the public lobby of the precinct. But again, I don't want to take too much of your time, Jacob. I really appreciate you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you on the press conference. I'm going to get into that now, so I look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye. All right, guys. So you heard it. Jacob gives great legal analysis. He's a great attorney. He has great insight into what's going on in this case. As a former prosecutor for over 10 years, he's great. I've learned a lot from him. Speaking to him, I've learned so much. He's doing a great job on this case. He's working really hard on it to get me out. Even now, meeting with the prosecutors, seeing where their head's at. So I appreciate him for that. As far as next, the next thing I want to speak about is the We the People press conference. So the press conference I'll be holding is going to be on July 24th, this Monday at 2 p.m. in Foley Park, right across from the United States Federal Courthouse. My attorneys and I are filing a federal lawsuit against the NYPD, and we will be filing an injunction for a judge to order them to stop enforcing this unlawful and unconstitutional policy of no recording inside of the precinct. So stay tuned for that. Again, it's going to be from 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 3 p.m. Foley Park, right outside the United States Federal Court building in Manhattan. If you just want to come and show some support, there's going to be some mainstream media there. I will be recording it as well via Skazlo Photo. Again, subscribe to his channel in the description below. Let's get him over 1,000 subscribers. He does a lot of great work for the channel. He's really helped us out. He's the one that was recording me in the precinct. We wouldn't have gotten all that footage and audio if it wasn't for him. So I appreciate him for that. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, so 2 to 3 Foley Square outside of the United States Courthouse. I just want to meet you guys. If you want to come and just show your support, I'd love to meet you, shake your hand. I just want to, we the people need to do, the NYPD has been getting away with this for 3 years now. 3 years there's a law that's been on the books. And Jacob and I don't always agree. The way the prosecutor is trying to say is like, oh, if you read into the law, we don't need to read into the law. The law doesn't make any exceptions for a precinct on purpose. How do we know that? Because the author of the law, Jumaane Williams, said that there shouldn't be any exceptions. So it's simple. It's clear cut. There's no exceptions because that's the legislative intent of it. So I hope the judge in our case does the right thing. I will let you know when our next court date is. I'm not sure of right now because our court date is getting postponed, but the press conference, I will make a post about it again, but the press conference, all the details in the description, and I look forward to seeing you there. I'm going to take a couple look at the live chat really quick. I don't blame you for not wanting to come to New York City. Don't blame it. We'll never go again to New York City. No, I don't blame you. It's not a good place to be. Especially a lot of tyrant NYPD officers there, for sure. I appreciate all of you joining. Almost 4,000 of you here right now, and I really appreciate you guys. If you can hit the like button, comment down below, and share the live. Everybody needs to hear this message. Everybody needs to see what we just witnessed right here. Everybody needs to see this. Everybody needs to see how the NYPD treats the citizens, we the people. It's horrific. They act like bouncers at a club. I said it at the opening. Are these law enforcement officers or bouncers? They look like bouncers to me. Look like thug, bouncer tyrants, like the worst. So we need to hold them accountable, and I'll be holding that press conference. The federal lawsuit will be incoming. You'll meet all of my attorneys. I have a team of attorneys working. Jacob will be there. My other attorney from Latinos for Justice will be there. We're going to make some change here, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you. I promise you we're going to try as hard as we can. We're going to take this all the way and appeal and do whatever we need to do. But we, the people, need to be able to hold our government accountable. And that starts with the NYPD, the largest law enforcement agency in the world. We're taking them on head on. They've been getting away with breaking the law and violating our constitutional rights for too long. And enough is enough. But as always, let me know what you think about this one in the comment section below. Stay safe. God bless. I'll see you in the next video. Long Island Audit. Peace.